Hi, this is Carly Kercheval from fulfillingyourvows.com, and I'm here with my husband, Michael Kercheval.
That's
Oh,
me
sorry.
from fulfillingyourvows.com.
Yes, and this week is week 6 in our online marriage book club. We'll be covering chapter 5. And last week we didn't post because we had a lot of stuff going on. If you can't tell, my voice is recovering, and the children and I have all been just fighting off some sickness in our bodies, and it's been going on for a couple weeks now. And last week, Michael had to have that surgery that we mentioned, so he's been recovering. So it's just been a little rough.
Yes.
Here we are, nonetheless. We are excited to get back into it. Michael is going to be kicking us off, and we're going to be going through the discussion questions.
All right. Well, this week we're going to talk about chapter 5. It's called A Light-Hearted Marriage. Now, what we're going to do is go through the us time questions. Question number 1 says, how do you tend to respond when faced with a situation similar to our Paris honeymoon camera fiasco, with humor or resentfulness? For me, especially the early part of Carla and our marriage, I would come from the standpoint of totally being resentful. I would always ask or do things that was self-centered, and if I didn't get what I wanted, I pouted about it, simply put. Now that we have some years of marriage under our belt and me maturing, I tend to be more humor and laugh things off and realize, you know what, as long as it's literally not life-threatening, there's some things you just need to laugh off and just grow together.
Yep, I agree. I think I always approached it a little bit more from the joking side, and used to get on Mike's nerves because he would be upset and wouldn't understand what I was laughing at. And I tend to be my own biggest fan when it comes to humor. I can talk to myself and make jokes, and I laugh at myself, and I'm quite content with that. But over the years, I've learned how to include Mike in those conversations, and to take something seriously, though, because there are times when things do need to be taken a little more seriously. And so I think that we've grown together well in the last 15 and a half years, just figuring out, like he said, if it's not life-threatening or life or death, just put it on the shelf. It's just not a big deal. Just chalk it up as a loss, or, move on, basically.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go to question number 2, which says, as a couple, do you laugh together? If it doesn't come easily or often, why do you think this is? What can you do to change that? Carly and I, we typically laugh a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We have fun. I truly believe that laughter, it brings an inner joy inside of you. It helps you to really see most things for what it is. Again, going back to life or death threatening situations, that's different. But most things that, especially in the beginning of our marriage that we might have disagreed about, it was small little things, and it was things that I had to look within myself and realize, you know what, I just need to grow up. I'm in a marriage. It's no longer am I have to think about myself, but I have a wife, a wonderful wife, and we're working things out. So we typically love to laugh together a lot.
Yes, I agree. And there's not much more I can add to that.
All right, so let's go to question number 3. When it comes to offenses, are you quick to let something go, or do you allow grudges to fester? If you're prone to grudges, take time to examine in your heart and ask the Lord to help you grow in your ability to let things go. All right, for me, I have grown to not hold so many grudges. This only has happened because of maturity. But now, I love laughing things off. I love just life. I love to appreciate my wife and tend to not hold grudges.
Yeah, so his natural tendency, definitely, when I first met him, was to hold grudges. And it's funny because two of our children, we're working through that with them right now. my natural tendency is just to move on. I think just because like I said, I have never really taken life that seriously, not in a irresponsible way, but I just understand that like everything is temporary. So, but I think there's been a time or two when somebody hurt my family that I was tempted to hold grudges, which is funny because I mean it is me, but it's indirectly me that somebody's hurting. So I do find it interesting that I would struggle a little bit more with holding a grudge against somebody that hurt my child or my husband, or other family member or friend, you know, as opposed to somebody that directly hurt me. I just literally don't care. So it's just interesting. So yes, there are times still where I'm having the Lord help me work that out and help me examine my heart, because and turn it over to Him, because I recognize at the end of the day that God loves my family and friends more than I could possibly love them, which is a lot. I love them a lot. So I know He loves them more and He has their best interest in mind. So thank the Lord for helping me in that area. So
let's go to number 4. How do you approach the small stuff? What are ways you can do better in compromising in the little things? I typically want to fix things, the small things, one complete project at a time. I want to get it done from start to finish. I typically get upset or get legalistic when that doesn't take place, especially in the beginning part of our marriage. When I told you I was being selfish, pouting, being a baby, it's because from my point of view, I tend to see things from one point of view, if that makes sense, or tunnel vision. I've matured to say, you know what? I don't have all the answers. I'm not always in control of situations. And I'm willing to, hear my wife's side of the story. So now I'm learning to be more flexible when the small things arise versus trying to complete that one thing that I might see and try to move to the next thing. One thing about marriage and life, there's always going to be small things to work on. You're always going to be working on something. But that is the beauty of going through it with your wife or your husband. You're going through it together. And that, I really enjoy that.
my mom always said, don't sweat the small stuff. And I found that pretty easy to do because, again, little things, they add to big things. So, I don't leave them undone. But I recognize that something that's really small, it's just insignificant overall in terms of how, with compromise. It's just easier to compromise than it is to fight my husband over something small. But that's definitely been a battle in our marriage. Little things, for me, I think one of the biggest pet peeves I had from the beginning of marriage was finding his socks rolled up in a ball all over the house. And I'm like, wait a minute. You could just as easily put these balls of sock into the washing machine or the hamper. But then I have to say, so I would get upset, just being honest.
Yeah.
But then after my husband's first deployment, he was gone to Iraq for a year. I missed those little balls of socks all over the house, and I just realized, this is really silly. And this is what my mom meant about not sweating the small stuff. It's like, who cares? I mean, eventually, yes, the socks, thank God, have made it into the basket.
Yeah.
They go where they go now. But it's those little things like that that we have learned and are continuing to learn that they're insignificant in the greater scheme of things. It's better to just look past it, talk about it, and allow your spouse to change when they're ready. I mean, I can't force him to do anything. He can't force me to do anything. And trusting God enough, I think, to recognize that He's the one that has the keys to my heart, to Michael's heart, to your heart, your spouse's heart. So instead of trying to control people or situations or hold grudges or, just anything of that matter, just to understand that, like the title of the chapter, it's better to be lighthearted about things, to find the funny in it, the good in it, rather than getting all worked up all the time and fighting your spouse, because you're supposed to be a team. So this is something that I know it's not easy, But I do know that with time and patience and practice, it gets easier. And like Mike said, I enjoy it. I love being married. I'm glad that God chose Mike for me. And marriage is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yes.
It definitely is.
All right, we're going to question 5, our last question. Do you keep tabs on payback your spouse owes you? If so, does this help or hurt your relationship? I have to say, I typically do not hold paybacks for my wife, because again, what we've learned is to move on. You're never going to take back or earn back any time or any lost previous hurts in the past, but what you can do is focus on what's set before you and to enjoy life.
Yeah.
Again, marriage takes time. Things change, especially you get married, you have children, maybe job changes, a lot of circumstances changes things or adds elements to your marriage. But you have to grow. You have to just mature. You have to enjoy your marriage. And again, I don't do the IOU and the paybacks. I just enjoy my wife. Is there something that I didn't get that I might have wanted, or a show that we might have not agreed upon? It's fine. I just move on, and we take one day at a time.
From a lighthearted perspective, like how Ted, owed Ashley a few movies after the horrible one he made her sit through. Sure, I think that's cute, and that's something that I will be like, dude, you owe me. But I don't really, like Mike said, I don't mean it in a sense of like he really, really owes me. But I do think it can be beneficial to a marriage in a lighthearted sense.
Yes.
To be like, hey, I sat through that ridiculous game of football or who knows what. You owe me. You will rub me later. Or, just those kind of things. It's like, it's fun. But in terms of the actual, oh, you hurt me, so now I will hurt you, none of that kind of stuff. That's foolishness, and that's not marriage. That's just playing games, and that's just something that we do not allow to do to each other, and we found that we've watched other couples that do that. They kind of play the tit for tat, and it's been very detrimental, and most of them do not make it, and it's sad to watch, So while our marriage is less than perfect, I will say that we are both pretty good about not doing the whole revenge and, owing thing. Okay, well, that's it. I made it through without coughing up a lung, which is awesome.
Praise God.
But definitely time to sign off. We appreciate everything. Hopefully you can hear us over the guy that's been weed whacking the entire time. It's funny because we live in a place where everybody has acreage, and like this guy by hand has been weed whacking his acreage. I don't know what's going on, but hey, he's getting a serious workout. Okay, everybody, we love you. We're grateful for you. Yes. Be sure to share with your friends that could be using marriage encouragement. We'd love for you to share the Facebook page or, the website, fulfillingyourvows.com, and even the emails. If you get something encouraging and that you like in the email, send it along to a friend. At the end of the day, we all could use marriage encouragement. And of course, we love to hear from you. Please write to us. Write to us anytime at info@fulfillingyourvows.com. We'd love to hear your victories, your struggles. We would love to pray for you. Yes. Whatever you feel comfortable sharing. If you just need to reach out because you need a friend, we've all been there. So please, by all means, know that we're here for you, and we're praying for you, and we're thankful for each of you. See you later.
Bye-bye.